Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Choose Positive Living right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Eric North, the Happiness Warrior. You know, we need happiness right now. My God, have we been going through it, you know? And I'm going to read a paragraph of what he sent to me. You know, Eric North thinks he is that has a genetic disposition to set things right. And regardless of what's going on in your day-to-day, no matter how fraught and anxious 2020 may have been for you, he wants to help you do something that once taken to heart will change your life. He wants you to give yourself permission to be happy. After years of entrepreneurial success with two thriving Washington, D.C. based businesses dedicated to life-changing therapies, he's found a new purpose and passion, leading people to the next level of their emotional and spiritual lives as the Happiness Warrior.
Yes.
Well, gosh, do we need that happiness right now? I think people have just forgotten what even the word means, right, Eric?
For me, it was just going through life. I'm pretty much a hard driving business. I have ideas and I get them done in life. I come up with inspiration for a business and I just work towards. And I worked so hard over the years. I had a rough kind of midlife 30s time in my life, and I learned a lot from that period. And that kind of bottoming out period when you had to come back. And I found that what brought me back was finding that I was happy. And then I didn't really think about it too much. I started working. And I sort of lost my creativity. I built businesses. I was a job creator. I have a good foundation here in DC. But I was thinking, what am I doing? I'm not really happy every day. I need to think about my happiness. I need to think about getting out in the world, sort of disrupting my patterns and learning. And so I started this kind of journey. I thought, well, first I'm just going to go out and I'm going to learn how to do public speaking. And I'm going to learn, I'm going to get with people that are I'm going to smarter people than me and people that know more about something else that I want to learn about. I just gradually get involved in those groups. And this kind of journey where I was like, there's no really next level. The next level is happiness, because I found that I was really good at making people feel good about themselves, kind of setting a spark in them. When I'd see them again later, they'd come up to me and they go, you told me something really important and I've done that and I'm really happy now. And I thought, that's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for how to build, I'm looking for the tools to build happiness in myself, first of all, and giving myself permission to be happy and to be just overjoyed all the time, just happy to be somewhere. If I'm invited to your event, I'm really happy to be there because I was invited to be there by you. So always that kind of attitude that show up, learn, grow. And I kept seeing happy people. I would see happy people that were happy to see me again. I'd come someplace, I'd be someplace a few months later and I'd show up again. Everyone was happy. They'd come out of the woodwork to say hello to me and tell me all their stories about things that we had talked about last time we had just met, just for a minute. And it just became this, it got to be very addictive. I guess it is something when you are happy, you want more of it. It's like the little rat in the cage with the sugar, or you want more of it. So I thought, well, this is, and my friends would see me and my husband would see me and they would be like, I don't really believe your stories. And then they'd be out in public with me and they'd see it happen. It was magical. It would be even more magical when I had people that I love watching my interactions with people. It got even greater. So then COVID hit. Okay. Yeah. And I was all ready to go into a TV career. And I've done some modeling in New York City for a few years. And, it's not modeling in New York City. It's great fun. It's really good for you. It's good actually to take your ego down a big notch too. It provides a lot of balance because you really learn about yourself. You learn about rejection. And
yes. Oh, yes.
And in New York City too. So you're just like, this is like the best people in the world and everything around you. It can be very intimidating, but I really learned about that. I learned that my ego is my biggest barrier. And I learned that being open and more friendly and being happier was such a big advantage in making me shine, And then my agent one day, and I was like, I got to get out of modeling for a while. My businesses are kind of busy. So I took a year off. And I still had agents calling me. And I'd be like, I can't ethically commit to something that I'm not sure that I can commit to. And then they're like, well, I really want you to go into TV now. And I was like, in the back of my head, I always have, intuition is a really powerful ally for all of us. And we can't
All of
really,
us. Mm-hmm.
for years, I've said to myself, like it or not, I'm going to be on TV someday. I've just known that. I've never really like pushed myself towards it or even directed myself. I guess subconsciously I did direct myself by going into New York and the modeling. But my agent was like, I need you to get into TV. You have the right look right now. You're a very strong looking, older man, and you have a good personality. You should be on TV. We can have used you for hosting and events and things like that. So I thought, this is really cool. And then COVID hit, like I said, and I had to save my businesses. I had to really kind of just keep my home intact and everything else. And at the same time, I was like, the world needs more leaders. I thought of Mr. Rogers used to say, when the world's falling apart, look for the helpers. When when something, and look for the helpers. And I've always been the helper. I've always wanted, I've always wanted to step in when something's upset or someone's hungry or whatever. And I said, okay, well, now it's warrior mode for me from now on. I have to have a warrior mindset. I have a Viking heritage way back.
Yes, me too.
It's always looking out for the greater good. Always looking out for the greater good.
And always looking forward.
Always looking forward. And there's always an obstacle. So it's like looking at life as a big game. You're going to have a few setbacks. You're going to fall down the ladder once in a while. But if you keep your mind on where you keep your eyes set on where you have to go, you always get to your destination.
Yeah, and you know how to pick yourself back up again.
So then by the end of the summer, I had I think we've all had, not me, we'd all had quite a few 6 months between March and September. And I was like, okay, it's time to start this TV thing now. I don't even know what's happening, but I got a message in my head and it said, just go forward. Mm-hmm. So I called my agent in New York, and I had a modeling shoot. I had a modeling job in New York City back in October for a couple of days, which was fun. It was nice to get out of my world and do that. And I said, this is where I need to be right now. This is really what I want to do. And then I got my agent. She got me a PR guy in New York. And we just set our heads together and we came up with the HappinessWarrior. Mm-hmm. And it took me a little while. It takes a little while to kind of change. I was there, but to actually to get that person become part of me. And now it's for the last month and a half, it's helped me be better. Actually, it's helped me even take myself to a higher level by putting myself, okay, this is where I am right now. This is what I have to be. And I have to be authentic at all times. Which is easy for me, almost too easy.
Well, the thing is, you've raised your frequency, you've raised your vibration.
Right, vibration.
And we know that the people who truly live in a love vibration are living at a higher hertz.
Yeah.
It literally is a higher frequency. So when you step into happiness, and happiness has to come from gratitude, that positive attitude. It has to come from caring and kindness, and because all of those will add up and equal love.
I think it comes with some discipline too, though.
Yes.
The discipline, it's everything in life is everything we do. We have choices, but discipline in our actions that create positive change is so powerful. And like you're saying, I part of my journey in the last year and a half is I was around a lot of people that were speaking about vibrations, things that I'd never heard of before. These is sort of a new area for me. And it just resonated immediately. And I thought, well, I'm either going to go deep into woo-woo, or I'm just going to absorb some of this. And it was deep. It was deep. The feeling of, hey, we can all, you can raise your vibrations and connect with others with higher energy. You can raise everyone up.
Well, it's kind of being on the same wavelength, in the same vibe.
Yeah,
we've been talking this language forever, but people didn't kind of connect what it meant. And when we're talking about being on the same wavelength with someone, it means you can have a conversation in sync with each other. When you're in the same vibe, you're in the same frequency, the same vibration. And we know, and the invitation and the permission has been for us to turn our volume up on our frequency, to turn our volume up. If we have not faced challenge, you know, the universe gave me a saying a few years ago, the universe is here to shake us up, to wake us up, for us to step up and change it up.
Step up, yes.
We have been shaken up, we have been woken up, we're being invited to step up and change it up. Not point fingers at government and everyone else, but what about us? What are we doing? And
Yes.
that permission to be happy, permission to step into a world where you feel you are really contributing from a space of heart, soul, and spirit, then you really actually understand what happiness is. And happiness is being of service. Happiness is sharing that smile, helping someone else find that joy within them, because that it's igniting the heart, soul,
Right.
and spirit into a bigger light where they realize it's okay to be happy. It's more productive to be happy. I'm healthier to be happy.
Yeah, I think
I can contribute more being happy.
but I think in a world where happiness, like we said earlier, happiness is sort of unhappiness has become more the normal state at times. And I think
Yes.
that and then someone's gonna, and I think that people, even you give yourself permission to a step beyond that. What are people going to think of me if I look happy? You know, there's a lot of that out there too. If I'm too happy, what are people going to think about me? And there's a lot of that as well. And I think, well, do you want to live your life that way? And that's where I want to come in there. I just want to come. There's people who are untapped resources for our happiness. Okay, that will go towards our happiness. They're not contributing right now because they don't feel that they deserve.
Or they don't know how at this present time.
I come from a very old New England family. Well, I say a really good example that I learned I learned about 20 years ago is my grandmother came from a very old New England Boston family, very proper, no love. There's no I love you. They love you. You know you're loved and you're cared for, but there's no I love you. There's no hugging hardly. There's no emotion.
The
and
world
if anybody
I grew
has
up
a
in,
problem, you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And my grandmother was also my biggest champion. I was perfect to my grandmother. I mean, she was always on my side. She was always there with me mentally. And one day, I spent a lot of time with her. I spent a lot of time with both of my grandparents, even as they aged. I came over to visit her, and I said, and I was feeling, I guess, a really great feeling of love for her. And I said, I love you. And I looked at her expression. It took her about 10 seconds. She just stopped. And then she just burst into I love you and never stopped saying it again until she died 7 years later.
Right.
Okay. So that was giving herself permission. She was told her whole life.
I know. I grew up in that society. I grew up in England. We were all sent to boarding school very young, and
right. You know, no emotion.
No emotion, you know, and I was the odd one out in the family because out of the 4 key personalities, I was the one that lived very much in the emotion of life, in tunement of life. You know, I've been a spiritual being way before I was born. And I was born into a family that were kind of very linear and very practical. And so, you know, spirituality and living in this, and I see dead people and all of that type of thing was just a little bit too far out for them.
Right.
And I was a very sickly child. And I would get breakfast, lunch, and dinner in my bed, you know, they would take care of me, but I wouldn't see them other than that. You know, you didn't have TV, you didn't have tablets, you know, didn't have radio. I just had my stuffed toys and my dead people I played with. And it's like my mother actually got whipped for wanting love from her mother. That's the world she grew up in, right?
That's very extreme, but yes, I understand. It's very hard. It's not a common experience these days with many families. That's sort of like that, but that's something that's when you find someone that understands that, it's very, very telling.
Yeah. And you know, I know that they loved me, but as my mother pointed out with my children, you've raised your children the way you wanted to be raised. And that's huggy wuggy kissy snuggle wuggle, you know, and very much in tuned and I love you and I'm there for you and all of that type of thing. And you know, I can't criticize the way they raised me because they raised me with what they knew. They didn't have to be happy or to love or to receive love, right? It just wasn't in the books.
Well, it was just the way they're, you know, it's genetic.
Yes.
not, and like I say, there's things that there's bad there are traits that are not the best.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get political or anything like that, but there are a lot of traits that are passed.
They've been very evident this last few
I
years.
think that can help us have more understanding of people too. And I even say my own family, it gives me more understanding of the pressures that they face and how it is hard. I'm hard for them sometimes, some of my family, because I sort of demand honesty, and I will just go away if we're not honest. I'm done. I don't know what else to do.
But sometimes they think they are being honest. They're being as honest as
Well,
they
of course,
feel
because
capable of
yeah.
being, but they've been living in so much of an illusion and expectation, they really don't know what is their truth.
Well, they've been taught that too. It's
Yes.
the same thing. It gets passed down. So, but there's an alternative, and the alternative is to start. I kind of developed like my core values. So when I'm the happiness warrior, there's more structure to just calling myself the happiness warrior. There's a code that I live by. There's a moral authority that I have that I kind of measure myself by. And I have my core values, and they're very important. But the number 3 is practice self-awareness.
Yes.
And that's something that we all can practice over and over and over again, because you can snap out of it pretty quickly too. Just like you're saying, you can have your different reality. You can have a reality that's not real. It's real to you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So practicing self-awareness is painful at times. It's also very important. I've always been someone that I'm very serious sometimes, even though I'm the happiness warrior. I'm still very serious. I'm always analyzing everything, and people will make fun of me, and I like it. They'll make fun of me, and they'll kind of catch me, and I'll be like, oh, okay, now I'm laughing about it. But it's funny because that helps me with my self-awareness. So
it also breaks the ice too, because
it's always funny. If you're giving a lecture in a lecture hall, the first person they pick on is usually me. So already I feel special though.
Yes, I think they always regret coming to me, because very often that honesty will come from a core before the thought process is set in, and it's did you really want that answer?
Well, that's my core value number 2 though, is be conscious in all actions and think before you react, and that's a reminder for myself. As someone who's in business, and I'm the CEO. I have a lot of big decisions to make. I'm not working 20 hours a day, but I'm working hard and making big decisions. I have to be very, my gut reaction is usually correct, but I want to make sure. So I have to think about it a little bit, and that's really helped me, because I have been in a situation. I'm learning. I'm still learning. This is like a little thing that you're always crafting. Your self-awareness, your mindfulness, and your happiness. So I'm always very aware now, because I realize that my gut reaction is I'm usually pretty. It's usually the right. It's usually almost always correct, right?
But how do you filter it?
That's the thing. The emotional reaction that may overtake the gut reaction. It's stronger. Oh, I want to hurt them for a minute.
That's a very much of a human, human reaction, and it comes from when we're feeling that we're attacked, or that nobody's listening to us, or we feel unworthy or unappreciated. Those are normal human reactions to have. But when you do come from a core, when you do ignite that heart, soul, and spirit into the equation, raising that frequency and that vibration, you feel your thoughts rather than letting your thoughts getting carried away with you.
It's your intuitive thought.
Yes.
It's your
compass.
Your inner voice, your compass, and it's what drives me and my actions and really I really believe now I'm sort of in a place where with my businesses where I have great employees and great managers. They're ready to take over, and now I'm going directly into this happiness warrior thing. We're doing appearances on television shows in 2021, and we're doing magazine articles. It's just kind of spreading. Who's this guy? What is he doing? Well, how come he's the happiness warrior? He's this 56. He's got a little bit of muscle on him. He's a businessman, but why is he qualified to be the happiness warrior? It's not that I'm more qualified than anyone else. It's just that's where my passion. There's something inside of me that I can't even control. It's kind of propelling me
Right.
into this new character of my life.
And you've stepped up. I mean, the universe invites us. It gives us the tools, it gives us the knowledge, it gives us the wisdom of what to do. And
It always,
we can choose to kind of sit in it and think about it, or we can choose to step into it. And you're the happiness warrior. Well, happiness warrior doesn't sit in the background. You have to be the
no,
foreground because you
you
are
show
now the
up.
conductor, right?
Right,
You're the
right.
conductor. You're getting other
I've
people's
gained,
musical instruments to play.
and it gives me a lot of joy because it gives me something. It's really reignited my creativity and just it's giving me there's so much potential to really make a lot of change. And I think when we're happier, we'll better understand each other. We'll better tolerate each other right now, which is a big word right now. A lot of people can't tolerate each other, even in the same room.
I know. Yes.
You know what? If we just stop all the noise for a second and tell a joke right there, or even just make fun of myself in a room with a bunch of strangers, there's a way to kind of break the ice, and there's a way to go, hey, what am I so mad about all the time?
And
What am I
also, but
so
that's a big
angry about?
question though, because in the last few years, anger, somebody put the finger on the button of anger, stirred it up like a
Yes,
hurricane.
yeah,
And
yeah.
people have got
And
caught
it's
in this
okay.
whirlwind, this hurricane, and they don't know how to. I don't know why I'm so angry. I'm just mad all the time.
Right.
And that's because
Right.
you've
And
got
then what have we
caught
done?
up in that frequency.
And then we're not taking. And then I go back to, okay, we talked about Happiness Warrior, sort of a life. You're not taking care of your body at that point, and
Right.
that's core value number one for me at all times is treat your body as if your life depends on it, because your body is everything. Our premier brain is our gut, is our digestive tract. Really, that's where everything
That's
that
actually where
happens
the
in our
soul
brain,
speaks to you.
everything in our brain comes from your gut. Everything that's chemical reaction that controls our emotions, our feelings, our feelings of anger and frustration. They can come from an unhealthy living, and it's like you say it's a whirlwind. I say it's a negative loop. It's a loop that keeps going around and around and around. And the COVID comes. So now I have to now I have to like fall apart now because this bad thing happened. And now it's okay if I eat anything. And I saw on TV the other day that snack foods went up like in sales, like an astronomical amount between March and June of this year. Okay. So also body fat went up, I'm sure, and then that makes you more susceptible to viruses when your body's inflammation is higher, and you're more susceptible to diseases, and you're more susceptible to feeling pain,
dis-ease,
depression,
right?
and it's just I get so wound up about that, but that's really one of my big things too, is really just helping people learn that it doesn't have to be a painful process to take care of yourself.
Right, exactly. And one of the reasons I've called the show the anti-aging happiness is that you're 56, you said. You don't look it. I'm 66. It depends on what day. We're looking.
I thought you were my age.
No. The whole thing is when we do step into that gratitude, when we choose to have a positive attitude, when we choose to look at what we have rather than what we lack, what to be grateful for, the simple joys in life, the sharing of a joke, a dog chasing its tail, kids laughing and goofing around. When we step into that simple joy, it ignites that little heart in us. So many people have switched off their heart because they want to protect it. And what happens when you're protecting your heart, or even protecting your gut, your spirit? You crunch down. Everything about you
get sick.
Exactly. Because there's no fluidity of energy running through your body. Nothing can flow. So you then get more despondent and lethargic and more angry and more distant from your own healing. So we really have to just stretch everything out and go, yes, it's been a shooty year. But
I did a
what gift
video.
has it been of it?
Yeah, it's one of the things. What I did was I had one funny video. One of the things I did immediately. I've been doing from over a year. But one of the things I really stepped up, and I used to use the hashtag show up a lot, because showing up is so important to me. When you show up for your life will show up for you.
Yes,
you show up for your life. You're showing enthusiasm. People notice you. You feel good about yourself. It's so I started doing a lot of videos. I started doing more videos, and it's really videos that were really set towards hey, let's take a look at our mental state here and try to turn it around. So one of the things I did, I thought was really good. It was like the second week. We've been locked down for about a week or so, and I don't use a lot of profanity. Okay. And especially in my videos, I don't think it's not necessary. Although I will when I need to use it, as a tool, but not very often. And I had my what the, and I said, okay, everybody, just say it one time, get it out of your system. And I went,
louder.
What the? And I was like, okay, I did it. I haven't said that word on a video, and I thought that was appropriate. And I got a lot of really good response, because my response was, okay, now it's time to let's start thinking about pulling ourselves together here. Here's some things we can start doing, and think a little bit better. Think a bit better about yourself, what you're capable of. And I think also just, there's going to be hard times for the rest of our lives. There's going to be a crisis at some point or another, and how we deal with this crisis. And I'm talking about people's families dying, and there's a lot of horrible things. But how we handle this crisis shows respect for us. It shows respect for all of us. It shows respect for yourself. It shows respect for all of us. It shows respect for future generations. It really makes a big difference how we show up right now.
I 100% agree with you. Again, going back to that shake up, wake up, step up, change it up, is there throughout history, there are always challenges. Pandemics, plagues, wars, famine, fires, tornadoes. I mean, we seem to almost be getting it all right now. Political unrest, war. We seek peace all the time, but we're always putting that peace in somebody else's hands and saying, you create the peace for me. And we don't realize we are the peace we seek. We are the love we seek. We are the joy we seek. We are the solution we seek. We've got to go in. It's it. Go within. It's all there.
That was the whole point. And that was the whole point of this whole journey that I started taking when I went to conferences and I'd started speaking. And the point of this whole journey was, there is no next level. The next level comes from within.
Yes.
When we develop who we are, and you develop that self-awareness and develop that inner strength and that ability to say, okay, I have to do something that scares me today. That's powerful. And once you cross that bridge, you're really happy with yourself.
Oh my goodness, it's such a life-changing.
It is.
It is.
It's powerful. And then you can start setting, and then once you believe in yourself, you can start setting intentions for yourself. And then you're happier and you're more happy. And once your intentions will come true. If you set I believe very strongly, everything I've intended to do, that I've been felt very strongly called to do, I've set my mind without even really it's not on my refrigerator. It's not on my wall. It's in my head. And it becomes a very driving force, because it's always for something that's going to make the world better. I always have intentions that are going to try to do something that's going to make a difference or add value.
But you see there, you've just said the key point. Here in Self-Discovery Media, I've interviewed, collectively, we've done 2,700 shows. I've done about 2,000 of them myself. Amazing. The common theme has been this: people who have had something to face, a challenge, an adversity. Some people have been completely and utterly flattened, and out of the ashes have had to rise up. And they've discovered their strength. They've discovered their courage. They've discovered their abilities. And each and every one of them say to you, despite the horrors of what I went through, who I am today, doing what I'm doing today for humanity is my purpose, is everything. And they wouldn't change anything. And they've always got that strength. Stuff is still going to happen to them, because that's life. That's what we're here to learn. It's how do we manage it? But the biggest thing is step into yourself. You are a beautiful, gifted instrument waiting to play.
The same thing.
Find your orchestra, learn your instrument, find your orchestra, create that symphony, right? We're here to serve one another with your beautiful gift. Don't throw away your gift by looking for someone else to validate you or justify you or tell you who and what you are. Go in. The gift lies inside. Let it out.
It's within.
Enjoy it.
All that time and money and places I went to, though, that's what I figured out is everything. And that's and that's why I said there are. We talk about if we lose people, we might be losing the person who can cure cancer, or someone gets hit by a car. Okay, but what about all the people out there that have something to say, that have so much happiness, that are funny, that are afraid to be themselves? We're missing a lot, and that's where I come in. I want to get those people
Yes.
thinking and valuing themselves so that they can contribute, because everyone has something to contribute.
Every single person.
And we're missing that though,
We're
because
missing
we're
that. I
so
look at it as,
mean and selfish, and
oh yeah,
we hold on to our little kingdoms.
yes.
There's plenty of room for everyone to be amazing. Okay.
Absolutely. The narcissist is about me, myself, and I, and you are all here to serve me. When we step into our own empowerment and be of service to others, we realize how enriched and how abundant we are and how our cup runneth
Right.
over, right? But
Right.
we've got to be willing to take that journey from the inside out, which means that, yes, sometimes you have to revisit past things. Oh God, why did I say
Oh,
and do
you do.
that?
Yeah.
And you know what? Forgive yourself for whatever you did in the past, because you did it with the knowledge you knew at the time, with who you were at that time. You are no longer that person. You no longer choose to be that person. And this is where the anti-aging and the beauty comes in, because when you step into your own life, your own purpose, your own instrument, your own
Mhm.
happiness, all
Yeah.
of a sudden the years drop away from you. You become the light for others that they see,
Right.
right? And that
Right.
it makes everything kind of about you more youthful because of the exuberance of how you feel about it.
But that is exactly, and it's so much easier to live that way too.
Yes,
It's
it takes
so
far
much
less
easier
energy.
when you feel, that's just how I operate. That's it's it's innate in my
Yeah.
actions these days. It's an innate part of my life, and just going to the grocery store for me, around the corner, is a pleasurable experience, because there are people in there who I care about, that at work, and that they have done really great things with their lives since I've known them, and I just think there's so much pleasure in life when you just go through life with that attitude that it's okay to be happy. It's really great if all my actions should really be to the benefit of something. Okay, when we're out, you can have a time when you relax at home for an hour or two, and that's important as well. That's also a benefit. Okay, but when you're really out, either communicating as you do on camera all the time, and really spreading this word. You say you talk 2,700 people, and you say we all have something in common. We all
Yeah,
have a very shared. Everyone
everyone.
should have the opportunity to do that. I
Yes.
think
And
that's really what.
and it isn't the importance of whether you are this big huge CEO. I've had
Yeah.
producers and I've had movie makers and I've had people who've owned their own companies and walked away from them because it wasn't who they were anymore, and they were sick and tired of living in
Oh,
illusion, right? You're right, exactly. And when you look at a company, what's the first impression when you walk into that company? Is it clean? Is it presentable? Is it welcoming? And if the janitor hasn't done their job properly, you're going to go in and see dirt and garbage lying around. And are you going to want to do business with that person? Because you think, oh my gosh, if they can't even pay attention to the
you know,
cleanliness,
it,
why do
it,
I want to work with this person? So the whole thing, I think what COVID has done right now, it's put the emphasis on the janitors, the work, everything became about, you've got to be a lawyer, you've got to be a CEO, you've got to be a
Mhm.
doctor. That's the only way that you're going to be important. What we've realized the importance through COVID is the people that are willing to drive the trucks of food, the service,
Oh,
the
yeah.
food, the people that have put themselves on the front line day in and day out and risk their own lives for us. We
Right.
didn't give them value, and realizing how important they really are to our lives. And all of a sudden, that little job at the grocery store, you're a loser, is one of the most important jobs out there. And
Of
that's the
course.
thing, let go of society's dictation of what is important.
And those are also people, like I just said, those are people who have brilliant ideas and have great things to share, and
Yes.
they're not always taken seriously, and there's sometimes people can be condescending,
Uh,
and you just come up. You never judge a book by its cover. That's what of
No, and,
course.
and if they've chosen to be there and every day they serve people with joy
Oh
and
yeah.
with things like that, is their choice in life to bring happiness, one cup of coffee at a time, at the grocery store with people's groceries. It's to make somebody else's day better, even with a smile, a laugh, I see you. How many people go
Right.
to stores and they don't feel seen? If the cashier cracks a joke with you or, just addresses you as a human being, All of a sudden you feel seen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well,
And
that's another. See, those are my stock phrases. Show up. I see you. I see you. It means I understand you.
yeah,
I'm trying to understand. I mean, I'm doing my best to understand you. We can't always understand everyone
right.
perfectly, but it's having that sense of connection and just being connected. Look, I always say that great, like someone that vibrates at a high frequency is, of course, I'm very attracted. I
Yes.
have to get in
Vibration
that
attracts you.
light,
Yeah.
or they come to my light, or
Hmm.
it's getting a little older and comfortable with who I am right now. I've found that I let a lot of things happen to me instead of sometimes searching. I let it come to me, bring it in, I let the energy come to me, and I end up having a more enriched experience that way.
And let's
So,
look at ageism right now. 20 years ago, your age to go into a TV show, forget it, mate. You were too old.
oh, I'm hot now though.
Exactly.
So,
That's the point. But also, I mean, you
it's different.
posted on
It's
Facebook
people like
yesterday,
me.
you shirtless, for a 56-year-old mate, you look pretty good.
That
You
was
really do.
okay, that was a mistake. I look very good for, actually I look very good for 56, but here's the thing. I have a business I do in DC. It's actually nationwide. I have a clinic with a naturopath physician, a full physician and a naturopathic practice that we do hormone optimization therapies. So we're helping people feel better. They get more in touch with their emotions. They get more in touch with who they really are when their hormones are optimized and balanced. So there's a big so as far as what I do for business, I really have a lot of passion for it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but like I say, everything I have in my other business, we stretch people. We have studios where we have people on massage tables, and we have a professional stretch session for an hour. So I always am thinking about ways that when people feel good, their self-esteem increases. When their
Yes.
self-esteem increases, their happiness increases, and their gratitude increases. You can make money by doing the right thing.
Yes.
That's a very important. That's a very important
You
thing.
can go and make
Very
money
important.
doing your service. It doesn't mean you have to be the sacrificial lamb, right?
Right.
And you should be paid for your service.
Of course, of course.
That is
Yeah.
important. That's the one that I'm still navigating because I leave it up to the
It's.
people whether
I
they
read
pay me
a.
or not.
I read a book by Marianne Williamson about money,
Mm,
and I tend to skim over books sometimes and to get the important, get the big parts. But she had a really great chapter on that. It sort of changed my thinking. So when I started my business, I was like, discounting to friends and things, and many years ago. And I learned a lot. You pick up knowledge from. I pick up knowledge from lots of from wise people.
but that's the point. I mean, it's the reason that I do what I do here.
Right.
People listening to these shows are going to listen to someone that inspires them. An inspiration is an invitation. It's an
Right.
invitation for someone to step into their actionism. Right? Activism is a great deal of yelling and screaming. Actionism is doing something about it. And when you're inspired by someone, gosh, you did this, you did that. Well, you know what? Well, what's holding me back? Or maybe I
Right.
need to
Right.
reach out to this person and have a conversation. Maybe they can help me, put me on the right path, or give me the right skills and tools I need in order to get there. That's the reason why I do it, because there is always a solution. And the people with the
I love that
solution
you're
are
saying.
the people who've had the problem in the first place.
I said every problem has a solution.
Everyone.
That's a great thing to always have in your
Yes.
head. Every problem solution,
Always.
and
Every,
just
there's always a
like
reason for everything.
there is, and every like you said earlier, every crisis has its lessons, and
Yes.
we're just living in a place, and I still think that being happy is it is something that can help us it just expands your
Yeah.
experience, but also expands your ability to grasp knowledge, to gain knowledge, because you're passionate, you're inspired,
Yeah.
and it's just
Yep. And you're exuding out your frequency. And people are feeling it, and it's like, oh, what is this? Oh, what is this? This tingle, or there's something that's
right.
happening
Oh
inside
yeah,
of me.
yeah,
I want to
yeah.
know, right? It's much like the work that you do. The stretching the people, the balancing of the hormones. People, like, going back to the whirlwind. People don't realize how much they contort. Now, I'm an asthmatic, and I was once interviewing somebody. In the middle of the interview, I had an asthma attack, and I've never
Oh,
seen myself have an asthma attack.
oh my God, that's been scary.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
scary. Unfortunately, she's a mother of 15 children, so she was extremely
she
calm.
stepped in.
Yeah, it's like, it's okay, dear. It's okay. I'm so glad it was with her. But I'm watching myself have this, and it was horrific
Right.
because I didn't realize I contorted everything just
Oh, yes.
crunch down. And we don't realize, you know, that I was seeking breath. And that metaphor for that right now is everybody's seeking some breath. They're seeking, you know, they want to breathe in and exhale all the tension and all the stress, and they don't realize that they're contorted. And I think this is where the anger and the despondency comes from. And it's this, breathe, man, breathe.
Well, there you go. And we'll talk about breathing, because I think breathing is a very important part of happiness. I say, in order to find happiness, you have to have discipline in your life. Okay. It doesn't just come with like, oh, I'm going to do this today and not even think and just have no thoughts at all. But you have to be, it has to be disciplined. And I think it starts with just, I'm sure we're not going over anything new here, but it's having a daily discipline, having a daily affirmation. And I have an affirmation. I say it every single morning, and I've been doing this for a long time, and it works. And more people are doing it because I say it. And it sounds like something a child would say, but I say in the morning, I wake up, no matter where I am, what I'm doing, I wake up. Hey, Eric, it's going to be a great day. I'll say my name usually, unless I'm dopey, but I'll say my name and I'll say, it's going to be a great day. I'll say with some enthusiasm, and then I'll get out of bed.
Yeah.
And it's powerful, and it changes everything. And that's step one.
The set for the day, right? It's the set of the vibration and the intention.
It's going to be a good day. And you know what? Things happen. I have 3 businesses. I employ, things happen. There's COVID. Things happen, whatever. But if I say it's going to be a great day, I'm going to, like I said, you're going to have better skills to handle what's happening. And I'm going to be happy. I'm going to have a happy day. I'm going to like everyone. I hear people say, I hate it. I hear people say all the time, I hate everyone. How many times you heard someone say that in your life? You're like someone, I hate everyone. I hate this. You're building more hate. You're building more pain on yourself. You're putting more, what you're doing is
what you water is what will grow.
You're actually you're opening up for more pain. So stop that. And then the second thing I do is I have I call it affirmation, hydration, activation. It's just 3 things. It takes 20 minutes. Okay. So affirmation, hydration, big glass of water, first thing in the morning, no coffee. I wait a little while for the coffee because I want to get activated. So after the hydration, I activate. I'll have a stretch. I have my own home stretching routine, but it's mixed in. I have breathing sets in between the stretching, and I'll do 100 push-ups usually. That's actually pretty hard to do that every day, but I'll do it every day. And at the end of that, I feel accomplished. At the end of my stretching is active. It's affirmation, hydration, and act. At the end of activation, I feel I've accomplished something that day already. It's still early in the morning. It's usually dark out, but I've already set myself up now that I'm breathing. I'm very conscious of my breathing at that point. And now I can use my breathing throughout the day to help with any stress.
Keeps you in rhythm.
Because I've mastered the breathing early in the morning when I'm quiet.
Yes.
And then you take control.
And you put yourself into that frequency that you wish to continue through the day.
Right.
It doesn't matter, whatever gets thrown at you, you're calm enough to address it, right?
Well, that's how you take control of your life. We all talk about how our lives have all these interconnected parts that kind of throw us apart and make us feel like we're losing control. But in order to keep them spinning, you have to get in that grounding yourself at the first thing in the morning. I don't care if you get up at noon, that's fine. Do it at noon.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm an early riser. I think I think most people have to decide if they're a night creature or a morning person. Okay. Yes. And I think at that point, there's no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong.
No, it's right or wrong. I'm a night creature. Yeah. I come spiritually alive at night. So I'm a late morning person.
So, I mean, and there's, as I said, I don't want to have tell people there's any right or wrong in how they want to live. Right. What's right for you. But there are these principles that you need to be happy.
You're right.
If you truly want to be happy, you can do anything that you can live any kind of life that you want to, but just you've got to have these little grounding principles that keep you, your rituals. You can go back to some pagan things. I don't really have any like crazy spirit. I don't have I was gonna say some pagan rituals. I don't necessarily believe in this. I wear this stone here. It's called also I can't think of what it's called. A moldavite, and moldavite is supposed to protect you. Now, I don't know if I really believe that scientifically, but when I wear it, it's on a nice chain. It does kind of go along with my affirmation that it's going to be a great day.
And the thing is about stones and crystals and things like this, they actually have energy in them. Right.
I
And so
believe
what
they
they're
do.
doing is they're carrying energy, because every single living thing on this planet, including
Connected.
rocks, is connected. It
Right.
all has an energy source. What we think is just dead actually is
Oh
carrying
yeah.
energy.
Well, we're all
So, you know,
well, we're all atoms. We're not even solid. Nothing is solid. Everything is an
right.
atom. So,
Yeah.
but like I say, for me, it gives me that little extra strength, and it does have energy, because
Yes.
this crystal, whether or not the people who maybe disagree, it does provide extra energy for me.
Yeah.
It provides,
Well,
so
we're drawn to certain stones as our channeler. You know,
okay.
there's certain
I love
crystals
that.
that
Love it.
you know, they have our energy signature in it. And that's the reason why we're drawn to them, is because they are going to store the energy and keep the energy generating in you.
There you go. I
So
love it.
if we're drawn to a certain thing, I mean, like certain people are really drawn to wood, and they're very
Mhm.
earthy people. You know, the soil, they love to feel the soil between their toes because they're connected to the earth. I stand on the earth and all I feel is terrible vibrations, because I'm a sky person. I'm a cosmic child. So I need
Yeah.
to be with the wind and flow. So
Right.
if I need to be clear, I go out and walk amongst the trees, and they're rustling and they're talking to me.
Hmm.
The wind
The
is running
wind.
through. It's running through me. It clears everything out. It rejuvenates me. It's being tuned with your element. Nature is here
Right.
to support us, guide us, love us, show us the way. If we got more in tune with nature, we'd be more in tune with ourselves, because we're just matter, like everything on earth is.
Well, you're talking to someone who actually hugs trees at times. So.
Oh yeah, I talk to them. Yeah, I have great conversations with them. You know, and that's the
You
thing
know,
is,
I have some of my most powerful conversations with myself in nature, and
yes,
that's actually where I set my
yes,
intentions. That's actually where my inspirations for my business, everything in my life has come from.
yes,
At the moment, and usually and we are social creatures, but being able to be alone is, I think,
yeah.
is also a concept of happiness as well, because being happy with yourself and
Oh, is first and
self-discovery.
foremost self-discovery. First and foremost, if you are not happy with yourself, if you don't love who you are, why you are, and what you're here to do, don't expect anyone else to love you. They're going to like or love you or hate you in your own light. So
Of
be the
course.
love you want to be. Be the love for yourself. Love you. And you know, you learn so much in silence. You learn so much in the dark. You learn so much in stillness, because very often the universe is speaking to us and guiding us, and we're just so busy we don't know how to tune out. And there's being in that stillness and the silence, and some for people it is that deep meditation. For me, it's a walk in nature, or music, because music's
Right.
frequency is a wonderful
Music,
thing
I
of
was going to say,
retuning you.
yeah,
Yeah, huge.
music can be
Yeah,
it can be a therapeutic, can be very
yes,
therapeutic as well. So,
yeah. And
yeah.
water, because water is an incredible conduit.
Oh, water's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, is an amazing conduit, because it does something about the energy in the water that, you know, that melds with you, because we're water. We're 70%
Let's
water
flow.
in our
Like I
body,
say, I
right?
always say in life is sort of like that anyway, because I always say, we were talking earlier just about the cosmic energy. Life will present you with the right step. The
Yes,
next step in your life it'll be right in front of you. You'll know, if you believe in yourself, you're happy, you feel sort of unleashed, you can do anything. The next step is right there. It's when
yeah,
you start to get confused, it's when you're unhappy, it's everything else. The step is not available because you don't see it.
right.
You're too much in front of yours. You're too much in your own way to see the next step. And the next step is your ticket out of there.
Yeah.
It's your ascension. It's a way to go forward in life.
And
If
then,
we
you know,
can't see
a
those
lot of
steps,
people,
then you're stuck.
right. And a lot of people will hear this and go, it's all very well for you. You two are happy. I have
Well,
been down the big dark despair.
oh,
You know,
I
I've been in that depression where I'd like to just walk in front of a bus and just call it quits. I have, you know, most of my life had unfortunately illness, so I know what it's like to be limited. I know that dark side of everything, but I also knew I was here for a reason, and that I had to find my path. I had to find my reason. I had to find my purpose, because when you step into that light, then you understand what life is all about and what you're here to do. So,
right.
you know, we've both known the darkness, but we
Oh,
understand
the
what the light
darkness is a
is.
teacher. Well, they say
Yes,
the darkness teaches us, and the darkness
yes.
does teach us. But the key is figuring out how not to go into that darkness again, really. And
Or to be at home
that's
in the
really about, and that's
darkness,
really
not
about
to be
forgiving
afraid of it, but to be at
and
home in it.
Well, to be able to understand how we get there and
Yeah,
not go there again. And I think that's really important
the
because
despair of it.
like
Mm,
it's how it's to use that darkness as a teacher.
mm,
Yeah, this is something we don't want to get back into again because we know that it could. I used to say I had a lot of dark. I used to have a lot of darkness. I used to feel like it was very connected with the moon, especially with the full
mhm.
moon. And what I did in the last couple of years is I really just developed my happiness. And I started looking at the moon as a friend again,
Yeah,
instead of as I'm going to have a lot. I had very abusive relationships back in my younger life. It's they're very traumatic in a lot of ways. And
yeah,
I had to give my, and it took me a lot of time and just like self-awareness really to give myself. That's not me now. This is not me now. This is me a long time ago. It's not, that person does not exist anymore.
yes.
And what have I done to make sure that, and as far as forgiving yourself, you have to make sure that you also sort of made a pact with yourself that you fix that. You're going to fix this problem. You're not going to do it again. So
Right.
you
And
can move forward
but
and you can forgive yourself fully.
if you're raising up to a higher frequency, a higher vibration, you're not going to attract that lower vibrational living.
Right.
Right? So it's raising your entire vibe up to this higher frequency where like attracts like. You're going to attract people around you that are also on that frequency or even higher. And you're going to be
Yes.
willing to open up to that frequency and explore all those wonderful dimensions. And the people that are still riding on that very low level aren't going to reach you, because in order to reach you, they have to rise up. And that's
Right.
their choice of whether they do or whether they don't. That's their journey.
And you could show them, you can give them a glimpse. You can give them
Yes.
a
Oh,
glimpse.
look, just
You
look how
have to be
happy
there.
I
You have to
am
be there
now.
as a
Yeah.
beacon to show people that that's what I feel like that's where their sense of personal responsibility comes into. This
Yes.
is what I'm committed to doing. And if
Yes.
I have to do, and I have no other choice but to do that with authenticity and do that
Yeah.
with honesty and do that with, I'm not perfect. Okay. And that's another thing to think about too. And I'm not a guru. I'm not going to, and even as a happiness warrior, I'm on a journey. I'm sharing it. I want to share and expand it with people. I don't, this, what I'm learning, what I'm being humbled by, like things that, like a lot of things, it's really amazing and actually a happy thing to be humbled sometimes because you learn so much from that. And then you can move up and then you can rise up. But when you have to learn your lessons,
Yes.
and our lessons are what make, and once we learn those lessons, our self-esteem, my self-esteem increases.
Right. And that's when you become the inspiration, the
And
invitation.
that's what I want to share. And
Yes.
that's that feeling and you know, it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't
No.
take anything. It just takes a mind that's open to change.
And you know what we've seen a lot in the past is that we revered people who we think to be very, very important and high level and
Right.
unapproachable. And then, then we see that they're flawed and we don't forgive them. One of the things I really like about what's happening with the COVID, where everybody on TV now has had to go to Zoom interviews.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I love about it is that it's happening in people's homes. They're more relaxed. We're seeing deeper conversations. We're seeing people be more open and honest, because it's not like the studio setting where they feel sterile.
Right.
It's a relaxing, and where everybody, that is in that position as the interviewer is saying, I'm vulnerable too. I'm going through this too. How do we go through it together? How do we find the solutions? What do we do here to empower each other? And it's become that invitation.
I think here's my thing, and people would be so. I think for this year has been the most powerful year of my life.
Mm-hmm.
From personally, it's been the most powerful, change-making, incredible journey in a lot of ways too. With a lot of taken a lot of introspection. It's taken a lot of sleepless nights. I had a business that was shut down for 5 months that I had to pay for everything for 5,
Right.
6 months
Yes.
as well, and health insurance and everything else that meant something to my employees too. And it's just all of that has created. I feel like a sense of optimism.
Mm.
Things are going to. I always say the good guys will always win. The good guys are smarter. The good guys are always smarter. Even in comic books and cartoons, the good guys are always smarter than the bad guys. Okay, the good guys will win. and that we will figure this out, and we will raise our vibrations, and the world will change I think it will go to a better places. I mean, that's just how I have to think. I
Oh
can't
no,
think of
but I
anything
agree.
else.
That is
And
where
I
we're
also
going.
thought when this whole Zoom thing started, and
Yep.
like you're saying, there was so much negativity about it. There was so much fear about it. It created the negativity. And it's created a new opportunity to communicate. It's created a new opportunity for learning. There are teachers who are doing things right now. They're amazing, connecting their students together. And it's not ideal, but it's given us another way to communicate, and which is really important right now, because the better we communicate and we learn and we figure it out, the more we're going to be connected with each other again, and we're going to be less angry, and we're going to communicate better.
We're going to see the possibilities. You know, if you're unwilling to pivot at this time, I don't know if you've read that book, Who Moved My Cheese, by Spencer Johnson, MD. Highly recommended. It's a very short book.
Okay,
it's about two men are living around abundance of cheese, and one day the cheese is gone. And it's the 4 reactions. And I'm a True Colors coach as well. So the 4 key personality traits, and they go very much to do with these reactions. And it is a great book to read because it makes you look at yourself. Which one am I? You know, am I the one that goes, give me back my cheese, I'm going to sue you? You know, is it the other one? I really don't know what to do. I'm overwhelmed right now, but eventually does something. Or is it the sniffy and the scurry? Well, let's go sniff out and scurry around and see what other opportunities are there for us. This year has been that year of who are you? Are you going to moan and groan about what's being taken away from you? Or are you going to look for a different opportunity, different possibilities to express yourself or your business, and just pivot in a different way? And I know I've done so many shows on that, where it's like, you know, massage therapists, etc., you know, where it's like, what do I do now? And they've had to pivot in a different direction because they can't do the hands-on. We're in another lockdown. We're not going to be out of these woods until at least June, July next year.
June, I figure June. I figure at least June, probably, until we can go out again without. I still think what else comes up? They mask our reality for the next few years at times. I think not in a widespread use, but I think when we travel and
we're going to see some massive changes, but more appreciation, I think, around it. The other thing we're going to see is an economic pandemic, but there again, just like I keep reminding people, wartime. You know, you're not worried about, you know, somebody coming in and bombing you or shooting you or arresting you because of your ethnicity. You're not hungry because there is no food. We've got all of that. We've just been asked to stay home and be considerate of other people's lives, right?
Yeah.
And pivot our lives into, okay, I am here. What can I do out there from here? And it's that stepping up again. Don't wait to be told. I mean, I've got 2,700 shows. You've got plenty of platforms, right? You know, there is always a solution to something. Out of wartime, what comes afterwards? Flourish.
Right.
Many businesses have closed, but that means when this is over, new businesses will come into play. That is the tide of life. It will always give us a challenge. What are we going to do with it? Where are we going to come from the heart? If you come from the heart, if your intent is always from the heart, your soul will speak to you, your spirit will go into action, and your mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it.
And you'll always be protected, because you always have a way to go through life with abundance and happiness. And there's always, like you said, there's always a solution to everything. We can say it over and over again, but people need to hear that. I think it's so important. And there's so many things. I don't say anything that's groundbreakingly, amazingly different. What my thing is, though, go back to the basic things that really make a difference in our lives. Is having good discipline, good daily discipline, believing in yourself, just having that simple idea that making someone else happy is really builds so much builds your own happiness. These are simple, easy things. Give yourself. I have an employee. He said, you know, you talked about giving myself permission to be happy. And he said, I've been listening to all these people about how to be happy and how to do this and how to do that. And you're the only one that ever really said that, and so directly. And it's just that's what gave me, that's when I started being happier, when I heard you say that. And it's nothing. I mean, it's been said before. I was reading a TED Talk, and the TED Talk was like, every idea that we have right now has been done in the past. There's no such thing as a new idea in this world. There's too many of us. but there's ways that we can take these older ideas and make them better.
It's old recipes being reconfigured
The
into a
rehab and
new
the old
dish.
recipes are
That's
good.
it. Yes.
Right.
All
They're
those
comfortable.
spices just being used in a different way to create a new dish. That's it.
They don't need to be complicated. I don't have a complicated, I mean, lifestyle even. Like the way I eat, it's very intuitive. I know what I need to eat. I know what I should be eating. I know there's plenty, like you said, there's plenty of food out there.
Yes.
I know that when I take good care of myself. I know that I should eat this before I lift weights. I should eat this after I finish lifting weights. I should do this when I want to go on a long bike ride. It's that way I don't overeat.
Well, you're in tune with your body. You're in tune with your psyche. You're in tune with your heart and soul. And when you're in tune with yourself, you know what you need.
But that's hard. Okay, so it can be hard. So I wanted, that's part of my message out there is we can. It just takes a few steps, and it just takes you start the journey, and it happens.
Yeah,
it becomes innate. It becomes part of your life.
Yes. We plant these seeds of what we want, but we've got to water and nurture them.
Right.
And the other thing is, don't dictate or demand. Right. The moment you start dictating, it's got to be this way, or demanding that, you've automatically gone into a negative vibration. It is allow. Right. Allow and pursue and permission to and immerse, but don't dictate and don't demand, because the moment you do that, you've already put a negative energy there. So I demand happiness. No, you can't demand happiness. You have to step into happiness by allowing it, by opening your eyes and heart to see it.
You have to change your vocabulary. You say, you have to change your vocabulary. There are action words. I'm not a big believer in the word hope. I don't like to use the word hope, because the word hope to me gives me an exit. I hope to do this. It gives me an exit to not do it. So change it to I am doing this. Yes. I'm taking action to do this. That can really, really change someone's life, course of someone's life, when they actually just think about the words that they use the words are everything. I had a makeup artist, and I was on set a couple weeks ago in New York, and she said, she's from Japan, and I love talking to people from raised in different cultures, because they have beautiful phrases and things that you've never heard before. And she said, our words have spirit. Words have spirit.
Yes, they do.
And it's just so important, because they don't go away.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if I'm in process. That process means that you are in whatever it is you're needing to be doing. I'm in process of developing a new life. I'm in process of my own self-discovery, my own happiness. Nobody says that you have to switch on a switch and you've got to go from despair to happy. No, that's drugs.
There's no such thing as you take that dream and you make it a reality. Okay, that's the thing, and that is giving that's your hope. But then you're turning it into something that has an action. Action creates your reality. And if you look at, I'm not really going to go deep into quantum physics, but actually intention is sort of that, because when you're putting something into motion, it will happen.
Yes.
Think about that. So I say, if you start the day with, I hate everyone, that's going to happen for the rest of your day. Yeah. Okay. And if you start the day like I do, do it. I mean, everyone should do it. I'm sure you have yours too.
Yes.
Start the day and say, hey, it's going to be a great day. You say with conviction, it's going to be a lot better. So there's just easy to eat. There's nothing has to be really challenging.
And mentally. The thing is, you're going to, we're not being delusional here of things that we don't like that are going on out there. But in order to change that, you've actually got to feed the people who are finding the solution to the problem, or feed the people that need nurturing against what's going on out there. Feed the solution. Don't feed the problem. Don't get onto the hysteria bandwagon.
Yeah, I don't like what's going on out there.
Right.
That's driving me, really.
Yes. To make the changes.
It is so possible to live. I had a friend, and I was visiting, and she was very nervous that I wasn't going to like everything that was happening. There was going to be some things happen. She wanted to be in control, and I said, just let me take the wheel, figuratively. I said, just everything that you're worried about is going to be fine. We're going to get there. They're going to love us. They're going to give us the best table in the restaurant. I can tell you that, because we're going to be nice to everyone. Everyone's going to be, we're going to be happy to be there. Just watch how I show up in life. And sure enough, at the end of the day, we had a really long day. We were doing a lot of things. And at the end of the day, she said, "That was the most magical day I've ever had." And I said, "Well, that's me all the time. My days and my travels, even my normal work days, they have moments of great magic in them." And even that was a word I had to give myself permission to use. I felt like a whack job the first time I used that word for my
Right.
life.
Yes, exactly.
And then once you cross that gate, once you go through that gate, it changes you.
Yes.
It changes.
Yeah,
It
but you're in a
changed
different
me.
frequency. You're in a different
Yeah,
vibe. You know,
even the
you
way
look,
people,
you
even
look,
the way people react to me is different now because
yeah, exactly.
they're feeling that. They're feeling
Yeah.
my energy.
Yeah, they're tuning into you. You know, I like this
Right.
vibe, you know. You look, it's been extraordinary lately of how many people we've seen turn 100, 104, 108. There was somebody 117 the other
Oh
day.
yeah.
And when they're asked, you know, what gave them the longevity, it's like they don't take life seriously. They live in
Right.
gratitude. They live life simply, and they just simply find joy, you know.
And
And that's the thing
and
is,
they have
yes,
love in their life.
yes.
Yeah.
And one of the youngest people I interviewed was 10, who wrote a book,
Oh,
365 Days of Gratitude with a Positive
beautiful.
Attitude. It was such a reminder to us. Like she says, if you're doing something that makes you unhappy, stop doing it. Start doing something that's going to make you happier. It's so simple, but why do we have to complex everything as an
Oh,
adult, right?
and this is what we should be doing, and this is what we should be encouraging with children. I think really, I
Yes.
think that's another way we've gone off track
Yeah.
with everything. It's just encouraging children to be themselves and to
Yes.
be love and to feel love and to feel like they are not. And I think I was criticized so much as a
Oh my
kid,
God,
just
yes. Well,
constantly, and
children should be seen and
I
not
always
heard.
knew I'd have a better life.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I had to just shield it, and I built up a barrier. I just built
Yep.
a barrier with myself, and it kept me from enjoying life as much as I should have, even when I was younger.
Yes.
And kids mean a lot to me. The way I don't have any children myself, but the way young people, their self-esteem is developed is really that. If we can just change the paradigm on that, I think we'd be in a much happier
Yeah.
place in the future, just in the future.
Yeah, I've got a
So,
series called the Forgotten Children series, and we're about to go into books where
okay,
various
right.
people would be contributing chapters to it. And, you know, if we could invest in our children,
Hmm.
water those seeds, nurture those
Right,
seeds, allow them to be, allow them to explore, we will see a less dysfunctional society later on.
right,
And, you
right.
know, we have so many creative children out there right now that have stepped into that creativity and at leadership. And there is a no nonsense about them. There's just a
Mhm.
certain logic about them. And it's like, well, why are you making it such a drama? It just is. You know,
I
and
think
they're a reminder to change our compass, and they're our future teachers for sure.
well, I think that's how my brain operates as well, Sarah. Okay, I think of it almost like I can talk to I talk to kids sometimes, and I try to I understand everything they're saying because they have a lot of really it's so simple. You know, they don't have all the reasoning yet sometimes, but
Yes,
they really have a very simple way of looking
clarity.
at
Mm.
clarity. It's right. There's right and wrong. So.
Yeah, I mean, as growing up, I had this knowingness that I didn't understand what it was, and I would be counseling my teachers, and they would say, "But how do you know that?" "I don't know." "Can you repeat that?" "No." Because I
Become
simply channeling what they needed to know, and they were
right.
open to and receptive. They didn't look upon me as the child and a subordinate. They
Mhm.
just opened up to what was coming from me. It was way beyond my years of what was coming from me, but I was channeling what they needed to know when they needed to know it.
And you
And
understand that so clearly now. You see
yes,
that.
oh
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. You know, I didn't understand it back then, and that's what I've
Right.
done all my life. And it's like, you know, it was always, but why can't you make something out of yourself? You know, or you know, because I couldn't be the doctor, the lawyer, the this, the that. You know, it's like, well, just hopefully you'll get a good marriage, and which I didn't. Great kids out of it, but a lot of good marriage.
It's all too
But all
common
of
in our
that
experience, but yeah,
self-discovery, right? Yeah, it's
yeah,
all self.
right.
But this is another thing I think that we need to look at is that, you know, why the ageless title is that happiness isn't just for children.
No.
Happiness is for the 117-year-old. It is in everything that we do, because if we're not happy with who we are and what we're doing, then we're not living in our truth existence. And we're here for a reason, to step into that instrument, that gift. And when we do that, the happiness that we bring to other people becomes our joy. And it's you're not being selfish by placing time and importance upon yourself in
No.
replenishing you and nurturing you and in igniting your own heart and soul. This is imperative that you do, because now your contribution to the world, to humanity, to whatever direction you're going in, becomes part of the equation of the solution.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's so true, so true. And that's really that is, I think that's the secret to life. I think that's,
Yes.
if you really want to live a really great optimized, not only optimized, a really just great life where it's just optimal everything, where you have
Yes.
great relationships, great health, great mental health. All those things are so connected, but they're all connected with your happiness, and they're all
Yep.
connected with finding your personal happiness, finding your purpose. Purpose is everything. Purpose is,
Absolutely.
happy people have purpose.
Yes.
And so, and I
Yeah.
hear that all the time. I hear all the time, I'm floundering in life. I don't have any purpose. You do have a purpose. You just have let yourself get into this trap where you feel like it's just hopeless, and it's hopeless because you're not happy.
You've
And
been living life by somebody else's or society's
by someone else, that's what
expectation.
I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
always like that.
Yeah. And it's
You're
like,
saying,
be tuned into yourself. The answers are there.
you're saying what everyone wants you to say, what you think
Yes.
you should do. You're using the script that's out there.
Yes.
That's not designed to make us happy. It's designed to make
Oh
us
God. Well, why are we such a
to
dysfunctional
subjugate us. It's
world,
designed to
right?
subjugate us, to
Yeah.
control us.
Yeah, exactly. Where
Yeah,
does all this dysfunction come from? Well, it is so that various departments can have control over you, because
right.
it has been in certain people's interest to keep you in fear,
Well,
to keep you
it,
underdeveloped.
it's a tool. It's always
Yeah.
been the tool of the ruling class to bring fear upon the
Yes,
underclass,
because it's
under
control.
control,
Mm.
whether it's religion or politics
Yep.
or ideologue, whatever.
Yep.
It's to control you. And there's 7.5 billion of us in this world.
Yeah.
We have to have, unless they're under control, happiness would make people a lot better. I mean,
Yes.
would make it a
Yes.
lot less need for so much control.
Right.
So when people are floundering and they lack direction, and they've been told they should be unhappy, and they're told that they should be afraid, you're going to have a collective group of people that are very easy to control, and it's actually dangerous. It's hurting us. It's hurting our abilities to
Crippling
survive.
us.
It's crippling us. And how are we going to survive in the future? How is our humanity going to continue at this rate, at this pace of so much unhappiness and so much anger and fear? I think fear is really the common driver between all unhappiness. It's fear.
And we've had, in the last few years, this whole fear button, somebody's put the finger on the fear button and just left it there. And,
Right.
with the COVID, and then with the politics, and then, obviously with the hurricanes, Mother Earth is
Right. Mother Earth is very
she's
scary right
pissed
now.
off at the
Yeah.
present moment, right? And it's,
Yeah.
it's the whole thing about it is that as you're pointing a finger at other people, going, well, government, religion, this, that, and all, there's three pointing back at you, and say the reason why this show is called Choose Positive Living is that your choice, even abstaining from a choice, is a choice. What are
Right.
you going to choose for yourself? When are you going to choose to go in and discover who you really are and what you're here to really do? When are you going to choose to feed the happiness instead of the fear or the hate? When are you
Well,
going to choose to be the light within yourself? It is all your choice.
when more of us take that choice and,
Yeah.
and move in that direction, I believe that really our world right now is a collective karma. For all
Yes.
of us are responsible. There's
Yes.
not one person that's not responsible for something else. I mean, we're all connected. Like you say, we're all connected. And when there is this feeling of just it's unrest, basically what
Yeah.
it is, that's our karma. And if we can raise our vibrations and just get out of that, then the karma changes. It's also a wave.
Yeah.
So
I know that the anti-aging that we talk about, you can look at somebody that's 90. I live with an 87-year-old. She's as tough as nails. Physically,
oh yeah.
she's healthier than me. I think it's got something to do with orange pico tea, but
Probably.
um, she's short-term memory is definitely going, but she's a tough broad. And right now the Christmas trees and everything are up because she's like a child when it comes to that. The joy of Christmas. She's watching all the Christmas shows. She's very, very lined, looks older, and sweet little old woman, and people treat her like that. They don't realize she's a black belt and she could still toss them, right?
Okay. Watch out.
But the thing is when we're talking about ageless beauty, we're not talking about you looking porcelain right to the end.
No.
It's been wrinkled, it's been whatever, but
Beauty comes from within. I mean,
still
it's an
being
old,
beautiful. Exactly.
it's a tired phrase. It's a
Yeah.
phrase we hear a lot, and I don't think we even believe it sometimes.
Right.
I think that's the thing. But beauty does come from within. Beauty comes, it's the energy that you radiate. It's the energy that's radiated from your being, from your presence. And it's having that presence really that creates that energy. So
yes. And that is, it's again, it's up to you, right? And
it's a choice. Because everything, we keep going back in these loops here, sir, because everything in life is a choice. Everything is a choice. Sometimes you're not given the choice. Sometimes the people make the choice for you.
But then you can choose how you react.
But then it's how you choose. You got to play that game a little bit more. Because, and there are people are going to argue with, like you said before, they're going to argue with, how can you be happy all the time? This is not right. You're full, and there are people who have been horrendous things that have happened, things in history, but that we can't ever take back. But that's the thing. We can work on being better. We can always work on being better
and stronger.
Stronger.
More resilient.
I'm so corny. The next thing I say to myself at night before I go to bed is, I had an amazing day today. I mean, I did my best today. Okay. And then I think back, did I honestly do my best today? I have to think about that too. And then I think, well, I will do better tomorrow. Tomorrow is a chance to do better. I will always be better than the following day that I was today. So
have you heard of the Don Rue's 4 agreements? Don't take things personally.
Right. That's number one.
Speak your word with integrity. Right. That's heart and soul integrity, not just mind integrity. Do not assume, ask, because you have no idea. Right. Exactly. You have no idea what's going on. Don't assume. There's always a reason why somebody's doing what they're doing. And the other one is just simply do your best, measured by you, not by anyone else.
See, all these stupid things in my head, they've all been said by someone else
so you're using them, you're practicing them, you're living them.
But they're intuitive. I say that everything is intuition. Intuition has told me all of these things myself.
Yes.
And I don't think like, no one thinks like anyone else, but I think, and I'm sure you can relate to this, I think my thought patterns are very different than most people's. And I come up with I always come up with a great solution to everything too, because I'm a problem solver. But how I get there is going to be a wild ride.
Yes.
It's going to teach me something too. And I think that's another thing. There's no wrong or right. We all have our own way to get there. We all have our own path.
Yeah. And the common code of conduct is this: do not knowingly do any harm to anyone else. Planet, people, life forms, do not knowingly do any harm. Sometimes we do harm unknowingly, and that is, you did not do it vindictively, you did not do it out of spite. If we could wish everyone, even what we perceive as our enemies, we wish them peace and love within them, then maybe all that energy will eventually open up, crack them open to be willing to see what's inside.
Like I say, I never wish I never want to have I always want, even my detractors, I want them to be happy. I don't want them to be unhappy in their own lives. So I don't wish that on someone. I want them to be happy with themselves, and it has nothing to do with me and my happiness. So
right. And the thing is about having a community that is happy, and everybody happy with their role in it, everybody happy with their meaningful purpose, and not being competitive with each other, but being collaborative, cohesive, compassionate with each other. We would have such more an enriched and abundant society. And we would then really step into our creativity of what we're really, as human beings, meant to live up to, because we are absolutely exceptional in our creativity. But we dampen that creativity through greed, through power, through doubt, through
all self-created negative emotions.
Yes.
Jealousy, doubt, anger, fear. These are all things that we don't need. They're not natural. They're all
Right.
things that we've created. It's like you created a problem now. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. So now I've created a problem for myself. I've created a thing. We should always be really joyful for someone else's triumphs and someone else's victories. We should always support them. That's one of my big things.
Right.
I say, even I don't have enemies, but people who are not in my sphere,
Right.
who are, for one reason or another, I do not I would rather celebrate their successes than their downfall. That's
Right. You know, and you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. As I say, I'm not
no.
everybody's cup of tea.
Oh,
I'm somebody's
please.
strong cup of black
Me?
coffee. You know, you can take
Right.
me or leave me, but this, I am going to be me. And you can either tune in with me or not. I'm not going to
Right.
be offended if I'm not on your vibe. That's all right. But I'm no longer, I used to turn myself into a pretzel to be what somebody wanted me to be. And who suffered for that? Me. Right.
Yeah.
So I stepped into me, and I'm enough for me, and I'm either enough for someone or I'm not. It's not for me to measure. It is just for me to be true in being who I am, doing what I'm doing. How people receive that, what they do with that is up to them. It's out of my hands.
I hear you, Sarah. I've heard you since we started talking. It's amazing that I always love when I connect with someone on the same way, very similar wavelength. We had a lot of things that you said were exactly things that I think, almost the same verbiage. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
just amazing. But there are many people like us out there who we
Oh,
have not
yes.
connected with, and you can see this podcast too, and they can think, I can do that in my own life.
Yes. It's
That's what we want. We want to
first
spread.
start with changing the way you dialogue with yourself,
Mm-hmm,
the way you
mm-hmm.
look at life. Stop looking at half empty, because the other half full is full of oxygen. It may not be
Right.
water, but it's full of oxygen.
Enough
We're
to
never
live.
completely empty. You know, I do watch things like The Walking Dead and this and that. And people, why do you
Oh, I do
watch
too.
that? And I said, it's not because of the zombies. It's for me. I'm inquisitive of how far people will go to survive. What is their
That's what I just.
perception of it, right?
Sure, it's amazing. We're 3,000 some miles. We're 2,500 miles, wherever we are, and I'm thinking the same words coming out of my head because as soon as you say them, they teach us how to survive. And
Yes.
seeing a hero, it's sometimes you have a hero, and we all need heroes. We all need
Yes.
leaders.
Yeah.
And the heroes always have a warrior code. That's why I'm the Happiness Warrior. And their code is to always look, and really the top of everything is to always look out for the greater good of all.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to.
And also the
That
perception
person,
of what people think is the greater good. You know, like, you know, we've got on the fear right
it's
now,
your
the one woman,
perception.
yeah, is her
It has to be
perception.
what you believe. It has to be what you
Yeah.
believe in, though. It
Yeah.
has to be your truth. Your truth has to be, and you know what? And it can change. We can be
Yeah.
taught as we go towards it. We don't have to have. It doesn't have to be so linear. There can be a little steps here on the way.
Yeah. And it also, you know, I think one of the great examples of it, you know, here is somebody in the present moment in the Fear of the Walking Dead who started this community because she wants to save everyone. But in doing so, in a dictating, she puts everybody in fear. And she divides everyone. And, you know, she's doing it because she thinks she's doing the right thing, but she's doing it the wrong way because she's not being invitational. She's being
Right.
confrontational, and her intent is there, but the way she's going about it, that look, excuse me, it reflects so much on us as a human with our desire to help someone. You must do it this way. You've got to do
It's
it this way.
fear-based.
It's the only way. And it might not be the only way for them, and you could be doing them more harm than good. It's got to be invitational, you know?
Right. It's also fear-based leadership too.
Mm.
And everything, trying to get back to fear. Fear is self-created.
Yeah.
And it's just, these are all things that we all need. It's like we're always tending the garden. You always have to be tending yourself. You have to
cut
always
out
be
those
thinking
weeds.
about. It doesn't just stay. It's never static. It has. That's why we grow. That's why. I think as we age, we expand. That's how I feel.
Oh,
and that's what I
age
really
is a
want to say.
gift. It is a
Aging to me is
gift.
an
Yes.
expansion. My life is expanding in ways that I am amazed by. I mean, I'm just sometimes I have to stop and I think, what am I doing here right now? And then I get a message. I'm in the right place right now.
Right,
This is why
exactly.
I'm supposed to do
And
this.
you've stepped into yourself at last, doing what you're meant to be doing. And you're doing it with joy and conviction and passion. And you know, that is who you are, who you've always wanted to be. And this is what you've allowed yourself to be now.
It's exciting.
It is.
And it doesn't have to just be me. And that's the whole thing. It doesn't have to just be me. It can be all of us. All of us can find that in our own lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When does the TV show come about?
What's that?
When does the TV show come about?
Well, we're working on with my agent. We're working on. He has a lot of good connections. So what we're doing right now is we're getting a little media things going on. So I've been writing. I've been making. First, I was afraid to write. I had a little writer's block when I first started. Then I did my first article. It was on the API last week. Now I'm writing every day. I have 1 hour in the morning, early, not too early, 8 to 9 before business gets started, where I turn everything off. My computer's up, my screen's blank, except for my word processing, and I'm writing every day. So I have 3 new articles I'm actually working on at the same time right now. So I'm writing. There are going to be more things published. We're getting things published. I'm getting a lot of other interviews with other magazines right now too. So that's something we can do while we're not on camera. And then in January, if things we'll see what happens. I'll be taping in Los Angeles at a national TV show. I'll be on CNN, and I'm going to be on some local morning programs here in DC to start with. That's just the start. After Thanksgiving holiday, things are going to start picking up. We'll start booking more things for next year.
Right.
So the goal is, and I'm just like I'm listening to I am usually in charge, and usually I don't like to use the word boss, but I'm usually kind of in charge of what's happening in my life. But there are times when there's someone who knows what they're doing. I have to let myself kind of be in their hands.
Go with the flow. Go with the
flow.
Yeah.
And it's really, and the flow is exciting because
yes.
every day there's something new.
Yeah, we've got to realize that other people have instruments that are going to make your instrument sound even better. So again, that's where let go with that control, that dictatorship, that demand. You've painted the picture of what you want. Now you've invited the other people
now it's happening
to produce it.
It's happening, and it's really exciting. So the goal is that we'll get. I think we could have a HappinessWarrior TV show that'd be really incredible.
Yeah.
I think I have my own ideas of the format, but I'm sure that will change with a producer. But there's so many things we can do.
As long as it's always never changing you.
Oh, it's never going to change me. Of course, that's impossible. If you know me, if you start to know me very well, it's very hard. Okay, but I can feel it happening. I can see it and I see it happening. And I just say, well, just let go a little bit, let go of my nature to control and just enjoy it. I have a lot of other things I have to deal with every day as well. But in in front of me, the path is very visible. It's very clear.
And the thing is, again, with the universe, the one thing I've learned really through, trial and tribulation is that you can be given a vision, a template, a blueprint that is absolutely right. You could see the entire vision of it, but how it's going to happen will be step by step and synchronicity of all the right people, the right time, the right place coming together. And it doesn't always work out in the time period that we like, because time is a human concept. It is not, it's not an energy concept. And when the energies are right, that's when things will come into place. So right now with COVID, I know an awful lot of people have got plans, and beginning of the year, I had a whole huge launch thing I was going to do, right? So it is like, okay, just what's needed out of me right now is the shows on, how to pivot, how to stay positive, how to stay happy, how to seed for the future and water and nurture for the future.
Right.
And we go with the flow. But if we are prepared, all the pieces are there ready just to slot in together and ignite, then it will be the right time. So whether it's January or later, that's up to our pandemic.
Timing.
But timing is that's something. One thing people need to let go of is timing. Well, I thought of this, I need to do it now. No, there's so much to be built, rooted, seeds to root, to grow, to organize, to prepare for. And we forget about preparation, don't we?
Well, it's your don't think you have an expiration date. Just
right, exactly.
It's very important. And at time, I used to put so much, when I was really just all business, I used to put so much emphasis on time and don't waste my time. And I get resentful about people, about anything that wastes my time. And now I'm just sort of like, it all just flows and I get everything done, and everything is just done better, I think.
Right. Yes. When it happens in the right time.
This whole thing that I'm doing is so crazily, it's such a dream that's coming true,
right,
that I'm not doing everything the way that everybody does it either. Maybe I'm doing different stages and steps, and it's just been beautiful to watch it kind of organically grow. And no one said to me, no, you can't do this. And that's the one thing I don't like in life, is someone telling me, and if someone did tell me no, I probably would have worked even harder. But right now, no one's telling me no. Everyone
Right.
just talks to me, and they believe in my vision of what I'm doing.
With
So
that they see the blueprint.
they see it, and
Yes.
I think I had to see it too.
Yeah.
And some people saw it, and some of them saw it before I actually saw it myself.
Right.
So I spent the last couple of weeks, I've really seen it, and it's made all the difference. Okay, it's made all the differences, and I've
That's that
see what
burst
other
of
people
energy
see, and what
saying
other people see
validation.
in me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
other people say to me, my friend, Giselle, she said, in March, it was one of the last times I saw people in a big group, was in a conference, and she said, I see you're my warrior. You're a warrior. I see you as a warrior, and that really just resonated with me. And I thought, there's why can't I call myself a warrior? Who's
Right.
stopping me?
Yeah.
I'm not a.
Yeah.
It's not about being a warlike creature. It's not about any type of aggression. It's about taking charge, being ready for anything, taking charge of my own life. It's not charge of others. Taking charge of my own life, being ready for anything, and going forward with a feeling of happiness and gratitude. And that's really all it is. And that has made all the difference. Well, I was ready to start the TV thing back in January or February. I was getting
Right.
going.
Yes.
It stopped. So time meant nothing to me. And I thought, time is like with you. This is my time to do videos. It's my time to communicate. It's my time to reach out and try to bring other people into this world of mine, because I think I have a good thing going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think one of the very important things is using the word warrior. There's warrior people who are constantly in worrying,
oh
and the
yeah,
warrior.
yeah,
And, when you look at that word, you think of war. By putting happiness before it and changing the energy of the warrior, you are saying to people that we can not battle happiness. We can invite happiness by battling our demons, our
right.
negativity, our doubt, our fear.
So
That is
clearing a path.
taking it on, and that
I
is
say,
the war that we're looking at right now, is that we no longer want to feed hate or fear or dictatorship or anything else. We want to step in to our own happiness and our own beingness. That is where the warrior, the soldier that we want right now, those that step into their glory.
and being ready, just things are going, doing things, not having to have a set way of, we used to do it this way. I think even in my businesses, both my businesses, we changed everything.
Yes.
We changed how we do things. I always kept this thing with employees, though. I've always had a really different way of looking at management and employees. I've had a different, more enlightened view of how people should be managed and how to help them be successful. So that has not changed. As a matter of fact, that's become better, I think, and we've created a happier workplace, happier people who are valued for their inputs.
100%. That goes
And for
massively far.
me, I always say, when you work for me, you're not working. I want you to always find value in your work for me, and find that you're gonna go higher in your life. So, and I say, if you don't stay with me for a few months, if you stay with me for a few months, you're gonna learn something. Okay, and then you're going to go off the road. I'm going to be proud of you.
I'm going back to kind of the Fear of the Walking Dead series and things like this, because they treat everybody there as a family. And everybody
Right.
that even comes in for just a few days, they say the experience is extraordinary. From the bottom to the top, everybody is a family, and they all work in 110 temperatures, between winter, and
Yeah.
they'll work long hours, or they'll be put in confined spaces, and they all come out and go, that was an incredible experience, because everybody there wants to see everybody do well. And when
Well,
you've
we're
got
all
a
related.
company that wants everyone to do well, what's going to happen? Thrive.
We are all related. We are
Yeah.
all human. We all come from the same place, and that's what I really think. It's, we all have the same things. Your pathways to get there may have been really hard, and you may have been stuck, and people are stuck in a lot of bad things, but we're all there together.
Yeah.
And I don't like this, we're all in this together, but we all are connected. We're all related. Every
And
bit
we're
of this,
stronger together.
we are stronger together, and we build
Yeah.
teams, because that's the human nature, is to help each other.
Yes.
And that's why we're human.
And
So
that's the experience that
the
we've come
question
to
to our
have.
lives, what are we here for?
Right. That's it.
Yeah.
It is for us as humanity to rise up to these higher dimensions, high dimensional living, higher vibrational living, because for so long we've just been living in the humanoid of ourselves, flight, fear, just struggle to live. But now we're inviting are opening up to our spirit, to our higher vibration frequency, which then speaks to the soul, the gut, the heart, and the spirit, we're realizing the synergy and the partnership that we have. And it's no longer just a human experience, it's a spiritual human being experience. And then
Universe.
we're realizing how beautiful it is, how
It is
utterly
beautiful.
beautiful it is. And the more we open up to that, the more we actually really do feel divine.
We do, and that's the thing. God is within all of us.
Yes.
I'm not going to bring religion to this, but our
Source
behavior is
energy. Yeah.
our source energy, and that is what
Yeah.
to be able to rise and to have and to get
The nectar.
create that next energy, and you keep creating it,
Yeah.
and by finding that inside yourself, and that's really what it all comes down to. Everything that we're looking for is within us. Everything that we think we're looking for, everything that we're going on, people live on these wild lives of just reckless behavior. It's really, and you're looking for something, it's all within us. And once we, like we said, get that quiet time, we find that inner peace, and we find some joy, and we find it's okay to be alone sometimes. It's good to think, it's good to feel pain, it's good to feel joy.
Yes.
It's good to have all these things. So that's what it comes down to. And it comes down to take care of yourself, take care of this, like you say, this incredible, I look at your body and mind are so connected. Make that connection between your body and your mind. Feel pride in yourself, feel good about yourself. We're all given a magnificent machine, okay? And that machine needs to be loved. And that's the thing, come love yourself.
In whatever shape or size or color or
That's
sexual
right.
orientation or anything else, right? It's just, this is a vessel you've been given to have this wonderful divine experience. Nurture it, love it, respect it, and live it fully. We're along with that divine spirit.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to go back when we're done and listen to you again, because you've given me so much wisdom in this hour and a half. It's amazing.
Thank you.
I've learned so much from you, Sarah.
Oh, bless you, and us from you too. And you know what I love of what you're doing, because you are a corporate man, you know how to speak to the corporate people. And what corporations are realizing right now is they cannot continue business as usual, and that times have changed, and it is more about, you know, I was one of the people I interviewed, Robert Girk, pure necessity, people, planet for profit. And when you're looking at investing in people and our planet resources, the profit will come, not profit at the expense of people and planet. And corporations are realizing they need to change. Everything about this year has been pivoted for business, but it's also been pivoted into humanity, in that when we invest in the people and the planet, we all become enriched in every way. So coming from that corporate background, you're going to be able to speak to people in the corporate realm that happiness, what do you mean happiness? Isn't that the good profitable fiscal year? No, it's so much more. It's having all your employees happy to work for you, happy to come to work for you, wanting to be a part of it, loyal to your company because you've respected who they are and their contribution, and all your clients are happy. That's really where the enrichment is. That's where the profit line is.
Well, I always say, and I'm really good, and something one of my great business skills is putting together a solution that everyone's happy with, everyone feels empowered, everyone feels a part of it, no one feels left out. That's hard to do, but you can steer the ship. I always say, I always have my hands on the wheel, and I'm going to get there. No matter how far off track we go, we're going to get to that place where everyone is happy. We find a solution. Yeah. And that solution can really grow. It can grow into something even better.
Yeah. And don't worry if you get down a cul-de-sac. You get down a cul-de-sac, okay, this is not a through road, but obviously there was something along this street I had to come down to learn.
Hold on to it though, because get back on that road again, you'll come back to it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
This has been absolutely wonderful. We've just really been in the flow.
I've really just, I've only done about 4 podcasts, 5, maybe a half dozen, okay, in the last few months. And I'm getting better at them. So listen, and it's really about just engaging with your hosts and just feeling comfortable and listening too, because listening is really important. I love to talk. Okay.
We're both
but also
talkers.
I love to listen too. And when I listen and I take the noise out of my head and I listen to put that other, I really gain from that. And I think that's so important because that takes my ego out of it. And I think and the thing about the business world too, you always take your ego out of it because that's where we get in trouble. So
Yes.
anyway,
Yeah. How do people get hold of you to know
they can get
everything
a
that
hold
you
of me.
do?
Now, I say the easiest place to get a hold of me, and it can be, you can Google me, of course, but is to go on my Instagram. And for 6 years, I did 50 redefined. Just before I turned 50, I decided I wasn't going to have any of this ageism nonsense. And I was feeling really good about myself. So I had about 11,000 people now, but I did 50 redefined, where I just spoke out. This is an alternative way to look at aging. This is my life. This is how I do it. And I'm not ashamed of it. I have no shame in this. I'm going to do things differently than most people ever have done it at 50. And I have. So when I just changed it over, and we're having a little bit of branding stuff going on right now because we're bringing my brand out into the world. So we're going to be rebranding a little bit more. But right now it's the Warrior Mode on Instagram. It's a long time to get to that. A long time to get there, but that's where it is right now. It's the Warrior Mode on Instagram. It's the easiest place to get a hold of me. It's where I do my videos. That's where I do a lot of my reaching out.
And your site?
My site right now, we don't have anything right now. It's just, it's all in process at the moment. That's what I have a branding meeting tomorrow with my agent. So we'll have that set up more, but the Warrior Mode on Instagram is a really easy way to get a hold of me. And it's actually a really good way to get a glimpse into what I'm doing too.
Right. And for people who use computers and not cell phones, is there any other way of getting a hold of you?
My Facebook, Eric North, is on there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So, the whole bottom line of everything that we've talked about today is that life is an inside job. Happiness lies within you, waiting to come out. When you change your perspective, change your attitude, change your language, change the way you wish to view things, and start opening up, you'll really truly see how beautiful life is and what part you play in it. But the willingness to participate in your own life and step up from the inside out and really engage in life with your beautiful gift and really understand the joy and the happiness that's in it.
Wow, Sarah, that was beautiful. That was perfect. Okay. I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly it was just gorgeous. Okay. I so enjoyed this, and I'm going to look for this when it comes out, and let's stay in touch too. Okay.
Most certainly.
All right.
As I said, my maiden name is North, so
I know we had that connection, so that's awesome. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much, Eric, and to everyone
Adios.
else
Goodbye.
out there.
Okay.
Thank
Ciao.
you, everyone else out
Okay,
there.
bye-bye.
Bye for now. We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to bringing you more shows. Please go to selfdiscoverymedia.com/shows, and you will see the incredible lineup of genres and shows that we have for you. We are here to make a difference in your life. Thank you for listening.